Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. Gain valuable insights by attending the podcast, then complete the assessment test to download your certificate. To do this, follow these simple steps. Click on the link in your description to access the session. Create a free account and attend the podcast. After the podcast, take the assessment test and download your certificate. It's easy, and it's free. We highly recommend checking out our subscription.
So,
True that.
yeah.
And like a lot of people still assume that it's just tax prep and compliance work. But
hmm
I know that EAs also are doing resolution work, they're doing advisory. I even heard some people do financial coaching.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but like from everything that you're hearing from the industry, what kind of doors are opening up for EAs today in terms of
So,
the
I mean,
things that they're doing?
there's so many opportunities, you know, despite technology, free file, self-filing, the tax prep industry is not slowing down.
Right.
Taxes just continue to get more complicated, and more people, more businesses have complex returns. And, even those that don't have a complex situation, they just want the peace of mind that to know that they've entrusted an important task to, a trusted professional like an enrolled agent.
Right.
Um, I've also never heard a member say they don't have enough work. What I hear more often is that they have too
Yeah.
much work or are ready to
Yeah.
retire and looking for someone that they can pass their clients along to. So new EAs looking to build a business should be out there meeting and working with other tax professionals
hmm
because more often than not, new business will come from those referrals.
Welcome back to another episode of We're Trying to Figure Out. I'm your host Saul, and today we're trying to figure out what exactly makes enroll agents not just relevant but essential in today's tax landscape. Whether you're a tax pro thinking about the next step in your career or a CPA wondering if EAs are quietly stealing the show, this episode is for you. Joining me is Megan Killian, Executive Vice President at the National Association of Enrolled Agents, also known as NAEA. She's one of the leading voices advocating for EAs, shaping the profession, and helping tax experts move beyond the compliance grind into something bigger. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Saul. So happy to be here with you.
Absolutely. So, Megan, before we get into all things EA, I want to start with your story. So, how did you end up at NAEA and what drew you personally to this profession and this community?
So I've been working in the association world for nearly 25 years. I was previously at a state CPA association, so I've been working in the tax and accounting world for quite some time.
hmm
And when the NAEA opportunity came up, I reached out to someone who is pretty knowledgeable about the profession and asked if I should take the job. I wasn't sure. It was a big change after being in my last organization for so long. And
hmm
she said emphatically yes. She said the enrolled agent credential was gaining a lot of attention and was poised for a lot of growth. And despite having worked for a CPA association before coming to NAEA, I had never heard of an enrolled agent. So, that really kind of excited me actually, because I felt like there was just
Yeah.
so much potential. And it was really appealing to me that I could come into an organization and work with the team and work with the members and leaders to make a real difference and see if we could make a measurable impact on awareness in particular. And EAs are so very passionate about their profession, and it's been really a lot of fun to get to know them and to support them.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, you wouldn't believe it. When I first heard the word enrolled agent, obviously I'm like, okay, some tax, but I just got curious. When did this come into existence? And then when I came to know about the Horse Act of the Horse Act signed into place by
Back
Chester
to the
Rockefeller,
Civil
that
War,
was,
yeah.
yeah, like, and in fact, I also looked at the So National Association of Enrolled Agents, I think you just completed like 50 years in 2022. So like you've been there for like a long time.
Hmm.
Nice, interesting. So
Yeah.
you get to work with a group of professionals who I think are some of the most underappreciated in the industry, although they've been there since a long time. So what excites you most about representing and advocating for enrolled agents?
I think it really goes back to just like what you said. They're quietly taking over. There was just so much potential that the enrolled agent community was is out there. They are sort of the quiet giants out there. They're doing so much in the tax administration system, and the potential to raise their profile, to kind of make sure that they were having a seat at the table in terms of the being part of the bigger stakeholder group when it comes to tax administration and tax policy. That's been happening a lot behind the scenes for a really long time, but to raise that awareness, raise that profile, and just work with our members to kind of funnel that passion that they have for the profession in that area has been really fun, really exciting. Like I said, they're just super passionate and are very, very much supportive of the efforts that we've been making when it comes to awareness and advocacy.
True that. And
Hmm.
like you said that before you joined, you had not heard of the word enrolled agents. In fact, even
Hmm.
I hadn't heard of it. And I'm pretty certain a lot of people are listening into this podcast, they would already know what an enrolled agent is. But just to make sure that everybody understands this right, for people who don't quite know what an enrolled agent is, how do you explain it?
So EAs have earned the privilege to represent taxpayers before the IRS by passing a three-part exam, a background check, and completing ongoing continuing education. EAs are the only credential holders besides CPAs and tax attorneys that have those practice rights.
Interesting. Very
Mhm.
interesting. So that's the elevator pitch. Interesting. Now, this is the part that I love, right? Enroll agents can represent taxpayers in front of IRS without being a CPA or an attorney, like you rightly said. And that's a big deal. So
Yep.
so what makes the EA designation so powerful beyond just the representation to the IRS?
So, you said it earlier, we like to say this a lot too, that EAs are the unsung heroes of the tax
Yeah.
profession.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes them stand out is they are laser focused on tax. All of their
Right.
exam preparation is about tax, all of their continuing education is about tax, and
Yes.
most of them are exclusively doing tax preparation or representation work. And while some CPAs and attorneys do practice in tax, all EAs do are tax and tax related work.
Interesting. Interesting.
Hmm.
Well, let's say that someone just passed the E exam. All right. So first of all, whoever did that, congratulations, because that's no joke. But now what should be the next move for somebody who has passed the E exam?
So while work experience isn't necessarily required as part of the process, it certainly is helpful to
Yeah.
building a foundation and gaining the knowledge that you need to successfully complete the exam.
All right.
And then once you pass the special enrollment exam, there are so many paths you can take. Many work in the large tax preparation companies, or at least they get started there. Many
Mhm.
start their own firms. Others will go to work for tax and accounting firms. I think that's one of the most exciting things to have seen in recent years. More
Yes.
and more tax firms are realizing that EAs are the experts that they need to fill their tax talent gaps. And not only
Yes.
are they hiring EAs, but they're promoting them to higher levels. And in some cases, we're even hearing about EAs becoming firm partners. And this was unheard of like five,
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Another exciting trend is so many younger people are entering the profession. For a long
Yes.
time, an enrolled agent was a second career. But we're
Right.
seeing more and more young professionals who say, I want to do taxes and I want a designation that's going to prepare me for this role. and also provide some added credibility and expertise. And the EA is perfect for them. Not that going, the CPA or attorney route is a bad option, but the EA path has less obstacles and requirements, but they still have to meet certain professional and ethical
Yes.
standards.
True.
So,
True that. True that.
yeah.
And like a lot of people still assume that it's just tax prep and compliance work. But I
Hmm.
know that EAs also are doing resolution work, they're doing advisory. I even heard some people do financial coaching.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but like from everything that you're hearing from the industry, what kind of doors are opening up for EAs today?
Do you want to earn CPE credit? Take this course of MyCPE 1 to earn free credit. Click the link in the description to get started.
Those are
So,
the
I mean,
things that people like.
there's so many opportunities, you know, despite technology, free file, self-filing, the tax prep industry is not slowing down.
Right.
Taxes just continue to get more complicated, and more people, more businesses have complex returns. And, even those that don't have a complex situation, they just want the peace of mind that to know that they've entrusted an important task to, a trusted professional like an enrolled agent.
Right.
Um, I've also never heard a member say they don't have enough work. What I hear more often is that they have too
Yeah.
much work or are ready to
Yeah.
retire and looking for someone that they can pass their clients along to. So new EAs looking to build a business should be out there meeting and working with other tax professionals,
Hmm.
because more often than not, new business will come from those referrals.
Absolutely. Now,
Yeah.
the National Association of Enroll Agents, you've been there, you started in California, and it's been a long journey. Now you've like you got like chapters everywhere. So if somebody were to become an enroll agent, how does the National Association of Enroll Agents help someone to take the next step after they have passed the exam?
So we like to say, like, there's three areas that we were really focused on, and that's education, advocacy, and awareness. But it's also being part of a community of your peers, which for a lot of EAs, especially those that are in are sole practitioners or in small firms, this is a lifeline of technical support. Also camaraderie and business development, and getting involved with NAEA, it's an excellent way to hone your expertise, raise your professional profile. Things like being in national leadership or working on a committee or being a speaker, writing for the journal, being a guest on our podcast, the Enrolled Agent
Mhm.
Advocate. There's so many ways to use NAEA to grow your professional net worth, as well as getting involved in being a strong advocate and promoter of the profession. And
Nice.
then, even before attaining the credential, we have scholarship programs and membership options for aspiring EAs. So, those that are
Nice.
interested in learning more or getting involved, they can do that. They can get involved in the community very early on in their career.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
Like that's something that I didn't know. I thought that you can only join in after you become an EI. I wasn't aware of the scholarship.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for bringing that on board. Now, I gotta ask you this. Okay, we are in this weird moment where the tax law the tax law is changing constantly. AI is knocking on everyone's door, and we've got a serious talent shortage in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so where do you see the EA profession headed over the next 5 to 10 years?
I really see it continuing to grow. The
Mhm.
awareness is expanding, the jobs and the business opportunities are there, and the tools are available to tax professionals have really changed the way they work and the way they manage their time.
Mhm.
And there's also so many opportunities to expand your practice to do other types of advisory work. So, that can really help round out your practice, to be a year-round service for clients. Filing season is busy and it's hard. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say it's not, but it's getting so much better, especially for those that are embracing changes, setting boundaries, and valuing their services appropriately.
All right, makes sense. You mentioned
Mhm.
that a lot of young people are taking interest into the enroll agent uh, credential, which is great, and that's exactly what we want to see. But we're still seeing this big question mark around for a lot of folks because they're like, how do we attract younger talent into tax? So if there's somebody out there listening into this who has not yet considered EA, what's your take on how we can make this profession appealing to the next generation?
I think, I think it's continuing to grow and adapt all these new technologies that are helping enrolled agents and tax professionals in general just work smarter and work
Yeah.
faster and more
Mhm.
efficiently. It's
Mhm.
also demonstrating the earning potential
Yeah.
because it's pretty high. And then also supporting and mentoring that next generation of enrolled agents, whether it's students or new grads or those who are considering a career change later in life. There really is a successful path for everyone if
Yeah.
you just get started and you find the right supporters, you find the right community, find the right resources.
You know what I really like? I think the most awesome thing about enroll agents is that the flexibility of, from where you can be an enroll agent.
Hmm.
Because, or where you can be after you've been an enroll agent. Because I have a client who is an enroll agent. He was in Iowa, but today he's in Portugal, and
Mm.
he's still a practicing enroll agent. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
He still has residencies in the United States, but he's shifted with his family to Portugal. But he's still able to continue to be an enroll agent and practice the profession. He still has his clients, and in fact, according to him, he's able to in fact attract a different suite of clients now that he's abroad, and he's also able to see the expat scenarios and everything. Now he's able to cater to those kind of clients as well. So,
yeah, yeah,
that I think that's the real coolest thing about enroll agents, that
yeah,
you can be an EA from anywhere and you can be anywhere even after being an EA because the
yep.
world has grown, the people have grown, and the potential has grown.
And we're seeing
So,
that. I mean, we're definitely
yeah,
seeing the credential grow internationally, especially
yeah.
in the last few years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even I think the prometric centers have also increased
Hmm.
across the world, so that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I naturally, like I am from India. I am not right now in India, but I am from India, and I I do recall some of my friends who used to do enroll agents a couple of years back, and for giving their exams, they would have to fly to the nearest prometric spot, which was in Dubai, which is like
yeah,
2.5 hour flight or something. But then a couple of years back, Prometric also started taking those exams in India. So now that has opened up the doors to a
correct.
larger talent pool. And now a lot of people are now able to take those courses from within India. They don't need to like travel to Dubai or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
splendid.
And well, I don't know the timeline given all the changes with IRS staffing and
Yeah.
technology, but there are plans to make the exam to offer it remotely too. So that will
Oh,
really open up the options for taking the exam, making it much more convenient, especially in places where you have to travel pretty far to get to a testing center. So I do know that's in the works. And hopefully sometime in the next year or so, we'll see uh, some more solid information about when that's going to be launched, but that's part of the plan.
curious question. Does the National Association of Enroll Agents have a seat at the table in the committee who is considering this?
Access latest and trending CPE courses with my CPE One Unlimited Access subscription. Subscribe now.
Well, we've certainly been influencing and advocating for this for quite some time,
Yeah.
working with the Return Prepare Office at the IRS to,
Yeah.
just to bring these concerns to them about access to the exam. During COVID and then immediately after is when we really started to see, a drop because people were having problems accessing an exam site
Hmm.
because there's a whole bunch of rules because it's a
Yeah.
federal credential. So there were a lot of obstacles in place to limit the number of test seats that were available, especially in places like India and in Europe. But we're hoping that bringing this remote exam will eliminate that. And we will certainly be working with the IRS on the implementation of that remote exam, working with them to recruit and train proctors, because there will need to
Nice.
be
Yeah, there need to be.
additional resources to execute the exam in that way. But we're really excited about it, and we'll definitely be part of the process.
Nice. Very, very
Mhm.
interesting. You
Yeah.
know, every association that I know, be it AICPA or the state boards of accountancy or national society, I mean, like the state societies of CPAs, NAEA, every association, I I believe that they also are able to. They're also looked up to when people are looking, or when departments are looking to like shape the tax policy or maybe
Yeah.
modernization of the process and everything. So what's the latest happening in that with NAEA?
Oh, well, the latest is like a moving target these days.
Yeah.
But we are very active in advocacy and government relations
Right.
initiatives. We work every day with policymakers, regulatory agencies, and Congress. We make sure that EAs have a voice and
Yeah.
a seat at the table when things like, access to the exam or tax
Yeah.
administration issues are discussed.
Yeah.
And these organizations do see EAs as experts and important stakeholders in this process.
Love it.
They're important. Their input is so important because they're the ones on the front lines. They're the ones that are serving the taxpayers, getting the questions, and our members love to get involved in this work. So, we have a number of ways where they can participate in our advocacy work. In fact, this year we're doing our first EA Advocacy Week across the nation in November,
Nice.
and we're helping members connect with their federal legislators while they're in their home districts. So,
Oh,
the main purpose of those meetings is to share, some of the policy priorities, but also just to introduce legislators and their aides to the enrolled agents that are their constituents.
nice.
Mhm.
Nice. I really like that. I really like
Yeah.
that. I mean, like, is this something that is it going to be in person, or can somebody attend this virtually?
So what we're doing is providing them with the information to reach out to their legislator's office and schedule a meeting, whether it's
Right.
in person or on Zoom.
Okay.
Hopefully they can get something scheduled, sit down in person, go over some of the policy priorities. We have a number of handouts and things that they can leave behind that talks about NAEA and EAs. And then, if for some reason they're not able to get a meeting, we do have some scripts and templated things that they can pass along to their legislator to at least, get that awareness going. And, depending on how this goes, we may continue to do it into next year as well.
Brilliant. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, thanks.
And absolutely. And like now, let's talk about technology. And by technology, I think the thing that I'm going to be talking about is, I think you already know what I'm going to be talking about: artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
It's on everyone's mind right now. So, how are you seeing AI changing the way enroll agents work?
It's definitely impacting in, I think, a mostly positive way.
Okay.
I was listening to a podcast with the CEO of Netflix a while back, and he
Yeah.
said, and he was referring more to content creators and writers and those in like the entertainment industry. But I think you know, the concept that he said really impacts a lot of professions, and that's AI models won't replace those workers, but those that learn how to use AI effectively will probably take those jobs in the future. So, that concept I think applies to a lot of professions, including the tax profession. It's a tool, and it's just going to improve and become more reliable.
Interesting. So, it's
Mm.
not all doom and gloom, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, they definitely need to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can create a lot of efficiencies and assist with so many different tasks and workflows. I mean, there's just more and more vendors are coming coming to the marketplace, creating new services. They're quickly being adopted by tax professionals who see their potential. They can improve their practices, their bottom line, and in a lot of ways, their well-being. I mean, there's so
Yeah.
much time management to be found in a lot of these products. But
Yeah.
as I said earlier, with anything, they should be cautious about the sources they are using, how they are using them, and also how they are presenting and using the information that's generated by those sources. There's still, that trust but verify kind of concept there.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more with you on that. At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, there's a reason why you are a human being and you want to maintain that
Exactly.
originality in the process,
Yeah.
right? So, but if you were to just talk about it in a positive light, what opportunities does AI actually open up for enroll agents?
So, I mean, there's so many tools out there that, can streamline your workflow, automate, basic functions like client
Yeah.
communications and, uploading documents and, data input. I mean, there's so many things out there. And again, they're just continuing to be new things in the marketplace. They're continuing to get more sophisticated, more correct. So, there's just a lot of ways that they can use AI. But I do want to say technology can never replace the personal aspect of the client relationship. I mean, your finances and your taxes are probably second only to your health in terms of where
Yes.
you want to know you're working with a trusted expert.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Now, all right, Megan, like let's bring this home, right? If there's somebody who is listening or and thinking about becoming an enroll agent, what's the one message you want them to hear?
Just do it. With the right preparation and motivation, you can make it happen. And
Yeah.
once you do, it will just open up a whole world of opportunities.
All right. Perfect. And for folks who are already in the EA community or looking to get more connected, where should they
Yeah.
go?
So, you can come to our website, naea.org, check out all
Right.
the ways to get involved. We offer more than 250 education programs each year, including our
Nice.
Tax Summit conference, as well as our National Tax Practice Institute, which is our tax representation program.
Right.
We have a
Nice.
very active private message board, as well as some very lively and well-attended monthly roundtables. In fact, I'm really looking forward to the one at the end of October and hear how everything went with the October 15th deadline. They're really
Nice.
fun. It's a great
Yeah.
way to network and interact with your fellow EAs because, that
Right.
really is such an important part of the community is the fellowship and the camaraderie that happens between members.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Mhm.
Well, so there you have it, folks. The enroll agent profession isn't just a backup plan, it's a powerful,
Mhm.
respected, future forward credential that deserves way more attention, right? Big
Couldn't
thank
agree
you to
more.
you, Megan. Yeah, yeah. Big thank you to you, Megan, for breaking it down and for the work that you and Annie are doing to push the profession forward. So, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast and sharing this across.
Thanks, all.
Absolutely. So, folks, if you're sitting on the fence about taking the E exam, or if you just want to level up your tax career, this might be your sign. With that, thank you for listening in. And until next time, take care and keep figuring out and keep innovating in everything that you do. Cheers.
Access latest and trending CPE courses with my CPE One Unlimited Access subscription. Subscribe now.